Mr Chair, I want to respond briefly to the concerns raised about the New Zealand energy strategy before I talk more broadly about the energy sector as a whole. The first point I'd make, I did note the editorial in the Herald this morning, but I'd want to make it clear to the House that I've long since given up any hope that the Herald might write anything positive about anything that I do. They seem to have a particular bent that I can do very little about. But I do think it showed that their analysis was incredibly trite. For a start, this is a discussion document, and had there been a comparison which you might have reasonably expected the editor of the Herald to engage in, considering the proposed energy strategy against the existing energy strategy, then I'm sure that he or she or whoever that anonymous person is might have been able to conclude that the new document is far more realistic for New Zealand's current circumstances. The other point I'd make is that while we produce these documents, they are merely a snapshot of thinking at a time. And in so much as the 2007 document became rapidly out of date, then that possibly it will be the case for the new one as well. It's just the nature of the way things happen. But I think the salient points are that New Zealand in the last year produced 73% of all its consumed electricity from renewable sources. And I think that trend is likely to continue for the years ahead. In preparing the document, I was mindful that there are a very considerable number of permits currently for new capacity, or consents I should say, currently granted. New Zealand needs about 175 megawatts of new capacity each year. That's before we start looking at any savings we might make through more conservation, through better use, more productive use of the energy source. But we have, as at April 2010, 5,390 megawatts of projects currently either under construction or consented. And Mr Chair, that would indicate to me that we are in a solid position as far as security of supply is concerned. 287 megawatts are currently under construction, and Contact is building its new peaker at Stratford, which is going to be a significant fillip for the development of the geothermal resource, but also the wind resource as well. One thing that people need to understand is that apart from geothermal, which is fairly consistent, the other forms of renewable energy can be subject to constraint at various times. The water can run out, the wind may not blow, but demand continues throughout that period. So I think the energy strategy does attempt to balance the requirements the nation has for its thermal backup, while at the same time promoting the concept of New Zealand developing further its extraordinary renewable resources. It's a pity that the Herald didn't bother to actually come and ask some questions about it, because clearly they didn't have time to read the entire thing before they wrote their shoddy little editorial this morning. That'll surprise nobody in this House. Mr Speaker, we are engaged also in securing the quality of the transmission network in New Zealand. Since coming to government, we have approved Transpower's expenditure of some $5 billion to strengthen that network over the coming years. But most importantly, we've embarked on a review of the way in which electricity is marketed in this country. And that's led us to a new electricity bill that's currently before the House, and I'd expect to be in place later this year. The early effects of the changes that are incorporated in that bill are very, very encouraging. In the May to May year, May 2009, May 2010, the actual price increase for electricity to retail consumers was around 2.9%. Contrast that to the 72% over the prior 9 years, almost two-thirds less than the previous very steep price path. And I think that's an achievement that the government can be very, very pleased about. It's a trend that we want to see continuing. Mr Speaker, I think we're in good shape as far as energy is concerned, and I think the estimates show that.
Members, the question is that vote energy stand part of the schedule. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it. The question now is that vote commerce stand part. The question is that vote commerce stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye.
Aye.
Contrary will say no. The ayes have it. The question now is that vote justice stand part. The question is that vote justice stand part.
Mr Chairman.
The Honourable Simon Power.
I'll have to take it.